On Sunday the 10th of April 2016, a team from the Airfields of Britain Conservation Trust travelled to Hounslow Heath to unveil a memorial marker commemorating Britain's first but now lost airport at Hounslow. The event was attended by members of the public, with representatives from the Friends of Hounslow Heath, Ruth Cadbury, MP for Brentford and Isleworth, and other prominent local residents.
Well, thank you all very much for attending today, ladies and gentlemen. That's very good of you. My name is Kenneth Bannerman and I'm the head of the Airfields of Britain Conservation Trust, which is Britain's and the world's first national charity of its kind. And we're very happy to be here today to unveil this latest memorial to Hounslow Airfield. To give you an idea of the airfield's history, it's got a surprisingly rich history, just as an airfield. It dates right back to as early as 1910. It was in fact one of the first airfields ever in Britain. And certainly a hangar was erected here round about February or March of that year, as is fairly well detailed in the public records. There was some civil flying before World War I, a bit on and off, but it wasn't a recognised airfield. However, activity significantly picked up in the early months of World War I, when the Royal Flying Corps took charge of this airfield. They built various airplane sheds, as they called hangars at the time, just over in that direction. There were 4 main sheds, and there were various other buildings constructed, not least along either side of this concrete roadway. You can imagine there were buildings built by the side here. So this was quite a permanent airfield, not just a landing ground. It was primarily used for training in World War I. There were various flying schools based here. But what people may perhaps tend to forget as well is that Hounslow was also an early major fighter airfield, not just defending London, but one of the very first fighter airfields anywhere in Britain. This was all to do with the greatly feared at the time Zeppelin threat. And there were 2 squadrons that formed here. The first one was number 19 Reserve Squadron, which formed in January 1916. It was actually a training squadron, but such was the panic with the Zeppelin threat that Hounslow became one of 10 airfields in the Greater London area, which was designed to counter this airship threat. What essentially happened was that there were 2 aircraft based at each airfield around here, also other ones such as, say, Joyce Green near Dartford. And this was London's aerial defence at the time. However, the fighter threat was further reorganised the following April of that year, whereby, in Greater London's case, number 39 Squadron was formed, and this was a front-line unit. So although it quickly relocated elsewhere, Hounslow played a very major part in fighter defence, and until the end of World War I, still remained as a supportive landing ground for any passing fighter aircraft that were in the area. However, the training emphasis in flying tended to predominate in the last 2 or 3 years of World War I, and gradually all the squadrons tended to amalgamate until they became known as number 42 Training Depot Station. This was in the last months of World War I, when training was far better organised. After the war, the next really big development in Hounslow Airfield's life occurred in May 1919, when the authorities suddenly declared it was earmarked as solely for civil aviation. The military had to leave. And the following summer, July, August of that year, this place, as is of course fairly well known locally, became not just London's, but indeed Britain's first ever airport. Now, of course, one of the great important points with being an airport is that, of course, an airport has to have customs facilities. That's how it operates. And what happened was that one of the hangars over here was actually converted to become the customs shed. So it was all very well organised. Then there were various airlines that appeared here. Probably the most famous of all was Aircraft Transport and Travel Limited, which flew civilianised bombers from Hounslow from the summer of 1919. There was the very famous first cargo, which consisted of, among other things, a journalist, grouse, and Devonshire cream of all things. The one passenger. But that's how it all started, and it worked very well. And various other airlines came on board and landed here. There was an average of about 4 or 5 flights a day. Now, flying was still very much in its infancy, but these aircraft were flying to not only Paris, but laterally as well Amsterdam, and then even within the UK they were flying to notably Manchester, which at that time was quite a flight in itself, bearing in mind how aircraft just generally were in their design and so on. But successful as Hounslow was, it was always seen, especially latterly, as more a temporary airport for London. Because already by that time, Croydon, which soon afterwards became, it's fair to say, the most famous airfield in the world, was being seen by the authorities as London's permanent airport. However, having said that, Hounslow still was a fully fledged place and fully equipped. For example, this airfield came equipped with a couple of what were called aerial lighthouses, which were just, more or less, as it says in the tin, so to speak, very large illuminated devices. That this was all before the advent of radar and so on, but these were surprisingly effective devices, especially for aircraft taking off and landing at night. But certainly by the start of 1920, it was becoming increasingly obvious that Croydon was going to be the successor to Hounslow. So come the end of March, on the 25th of March, for example, the lighthouse shut down, and then on the 28th of March, Croydon officially took over from Hounslow as London's air terminus, as they called it at the time, instead of airport. After that, the land was then reverted to military use. As is fairly well known, there was very strong cavalry use here for many, many years. There is one story I've noticed as well in public records, whereby there was a cavalry officer actually complaining about not getting enough use for training his horses. Well, the aircraft were actually, the airliners were taking off and landing. I mean, can you imagine that today? But this was the kind of thinking at the time. But the cavalry came back. It was also used for vehicle storage and maintenance for the army. That wasn't quite the end of flying, at least in a general sense, not an official sense, of course. But in the 1930s, there was some experimental autogyro flying here. This was this aircraft that was a mixture between a fixed-wing aircraft and a helicopter. If you think of Little Nelly in the James Bond films, that was an autogyro. So there was some flying there in the 1930s, and then also in World War II, for good measure, there was some military gliding for air cadets, 1943 to 45. But other than that, there was no further flying, and then the airfield, as far as one can discern, totally disappeared after World War II. Apparently one of the hangars survived after the conflict, but as far as we know, unless there's some kind of hidden foundations, there isn't anything left today. Now I should just say as well, just slightly digressing, but just like in case you're not aware of this, that we have also erected a memorial plaque just up the road from here to commemorate Heston Airfield. Now we don't actually do unveilings of plaques, but this plaque has also been around since we've erected this memorial as well. If you're interested, it is near the entrance to the eastbound M4 services shops. And we must thank as well the motorway service operators for their help with that. Again, just to give you a very quick idea of Heston's history, if you're not aware, this used to be one of Britain's best known airfields way back in the 1930s. It was also a very pioneering place as well. It helped greatly with various forms of air travel and transport, such as night flying. Then it also greatly advanced the cause of photographic reconnaissance, which was absolutely crucial in World War II. I've now sadly forgotten genius called Sidney Cotton, if that rings any bells with you. A maverick genius who in many ways saved Britain. And then also, when talking about saving Britain, although it may sound rather controversial today, we must not forget either the efforts of former Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain, with all the flights he made to and from Heston for the Munich crisis in 1938. Now, it goes without saying that history has not treated Chamberlain too well since then. But if one logically thinks about it, he and Heston actually saved Britain. Because in short, if we'd gone to World War II in the autumn of 1938, quite simply we would have lost, because all the famous German aircraft were around at that time, the RAF had biplanes in the main, whereas a lot of airfields had not even opened. So it's no exaggeration to say that Heston played a major part in saving this country in 1938. World War II saw major service as well in various capacities, and then it closed in 1948. Now, why I say that is that it's generally thought that the airfield closed the previous year. But I can now absolutely confirm to you that the closure date was, to be precise, the 29th of February 1948. So, if nothing else, as if needs saying, just always be careful when looking at the internet for dates. It's easily done, of course. I'm not being critical, but you've got to be careful with opening and closing dates for the airfields. But one further thing I should just say about Heston, just before we unveil the memorial, is that it's rather sad if you think about it. I've seen files at the National Archives in London whereby they said that people were thinking about getting some form of memorial or a plaque to honour Heston Airfield. And this was 1971. And unfortunately, nothing happened thereafter for whatever reason. Someone had actually even drawn up a form of university thesis about this at the time. These are these records, you can see it at the National Archives. And for whatever reason, nothing happened. And then, very sadly as well, most of the buildings were demolished in 1978. The famous social focus terminal buildings. Although thankfully, as you will probably be aware, the concrete hangar that was part of the social focus still survives today, and even better still, fortunately, is now a listed building. So thank goodness for that anyhow. But just on a very final point, if I can just say to you, just generally, we really need to do an awful lot to help save Britain's airfields, whether they are active or disused. This is a real crisis that Britain is facing, and it has faced, in fact, since the end of World War I, never mind World War II. We simply cannot afford to lose these places just because of how they influence our everyday lives. It's no exaggeration to say that just all around us, although it might not be obvious, there are airfield links everywhere. And put very simply, we just cannot adequately function without these places in our everyday lives. You would be really surprised, but everything from the food we eat to even such issues, for example, as health and time, of all things. These places play a huge, albeit unrecognised role in our everyday lives. So therefore I can only ask you to, within reason, just do everything you reasonably can to help both save and honour not only all these places, but of course all the very brave and noteworthy people who served at places such as Hounslow ever since 1910. And just as a final point, I'm looking at this airliner above us. If you think about one last point, if it wasn't a way for Hounslow, it could easily be argued that at least 1/3 of 1,000,000 people in this general area wouldn't have a job. So that's maybe just worth bearing in mind as well. That's how important these places are. So thank you all very much for your attending today. We're all very pleased to see you. And therefore, I'm delighted to be able to unveil what is now our 53rd memorial. We've got hundreds more planned to come over the years, and therefore we're able to unveil our latest memorial to yet another Britain's top physical assets of all time, the one and only Hounslow Airfield. Thank you all very much.